Hello, more Things Invest. We're talking about investing, finance, and professionalism for today's terms only. The investment I'm going to talk today will be 30ETH. First, I want to say happy Monday, everybody. A great weekend, by the way. Respect to recording time of 9:15 a.m. on the Eastern Time. Ethereum currently trading $4,352, up about 1.20% so far. On the overall crypto market, you can see clearly we are kind of a mixed bag, right? Bitcoin's kind of flat right now, down about 0.09%. Cardano's kind of down about 1% respectively, while some selective coins, Ethereum's currently up about 1.23%, while the overall altcoin market is kind of up right now, right? Obviously, some of the coins are a little bit more prominently, demanding an upside in comparisons to other. Seems like the rebound from the sell-off that we've had experienced on Black Friday, durated all the way to the weekend, is progressing nicely. And I know I personally bought the dip for Ethereum when it was like at the low 4,000. I think my cost average for the two Ethereum was specifically about 4,040 something ish dollars. So I'm generating relatively healthy gains right now, and it was a logical cost. Despite it was not the best cost. Right, again, it's an investment, not a gamble, and I thought that in the risk mitigation perspective at that level, it was the ideal thing to do, and we are seeing some rebound right now. Seems like obviously the rebound is mainly due to again, right, per our last depictions from previous videos, is that it was mainly sold off because of the triple whammy effects that we've experienced on Friday, and that dragged out during the weekend with respect to a new COVID variant, which I think the name is called Omicron. They actually made a name now. It's a Greek letter, I believe, and obviously it drove some fear mongering among investors, but obviously with that affectation is subsequently getting normalized over time, right? And what you're seeing right now is mainly driven by the international market coming in, buying the dip, right? But I foresee some, normalization coming as obviously the domestic side of the house in the U.S. start to wake up again. And we will see how the equity market will go as well, right? On a pre-market perspective, we can see that we also rebounding across the spectrum. But ultimately, the COVID variants news is still something that is kind of up in the air right now. We do not know how is that progressing so far. In an operational perspective, there hasn't been any specific improvement so far. It's just that people are psychologically more normalized in comparisons to the initial surprise that we've had, right? And with that surprise, it was the logical thing to do for investors that think logically to be incurring risk at that level when everybody is driving fear, right? So beside that rebound, we can see that the rebound is mostly baked in on yesterday, on Sunday, night, basically, us basically on the international side of the world start to wake up, and us, we domestically start to go to sleep, and technically translate into the current level right now, right? And just to look at some of the high level synopsis of key things that jumped out of the page as well, is that with respect to Bitcoin, is currently testing a resistance level that is quite critical at the moment, based on some of the articles that I've been reading so far this morning. And I would say collectively, with respect to the news that I'm seeing in front of me on Reuters, on CNBC, on Bazinga, on Financial Times, they all talk about the same thing, really. Talk about the rebound that we're experiencing collectively. So there isn't really substantive for us to like go through them one by one, because they all say the same thing. It's just that they all have different spin to it, with their layer of technical analysis as well, right? So let's dive straight right into the technical analysis. Again, we're recording as of 9:19 a.m. on Eastern Time. Ethereum currently $4,337, up about 0.91% so far. As you can see clearly, we are flat right now, while at the same time, the equity market seems like it's rebounding nicely. But with respect to NASDAQ, it's still down about, negative 2 to 3% so far, which is relatively bearish. But I don't think it's gonna durate any longer on the equity side on the NASDAQ front, because the next resistance level that we'll get down to will be ideally be the 15,400. So we are relatively close. So we might sell down a little bit more, but I foresee today will be some normalization. On the SPY front, we have a huge gap right now, and we are at the resistance level right now. We are very oversold on the Dow Jones front. So I do see equity to be a rebound today. And then SPY, if you look at it, relatively overstretched, but we are very oversold at the 45. So SPY seems like it's gonna be rebounding as well, which translates into why across the spectrum. For like, just look at some of the stocks, right? Coinbase, Tesla up about 2% pre-market. Neo's also up about 3% pre-market. Baba's also up about 1% pre-market as well. So the rebound makes sense, and that will technically drive some anti-correlation effects onto the crypto market, which is the reason why we kind of have a mixed bag right now for the key coins. While the altcoin are pumping because, as we know, is mainly driven by retail investors, right? So with respect to Ethereum right now, it's at an okay level again, right? We're back to where we were before, right? The dip was basically anywhere around like the 3,900, 3,850, right? I know in some platform got to 3,850 specifically. And I know Webull probably shows like a specific number that they have in comparisons to like Robinhood, in comparisons to like Binance and Coinbase. They all have like a different number. I don't know why that is specifically, but I know specifically we got to the level of resistance that we identified. And that's the reason why I incurred the dip, right? I bought in the dip. It seems like we're reviving right now. But on a macro perspective, we still know that we are still forming head and shoulder. We have a head, shoulder, shoulder, right? So this surge is really just a rebound from retail investors, not the smart money, if you may, right? So right now, this is an interesting level for us to see. We are at the 52 on the RSI scale, so it's an okay level, not the best, right? Like we know, right? However, if you look closely on the MACD front, you could see that we are, we were obviously in a bearish state, right? But we have been reviving right now. And the best scenario is that we normalize a little bit, and then eventually, as we come back down, and then we will have another macro catalyst. I don't know what that would be. I think because of the fact that we are at the end of November, and the first week of December or second week of December, we're going to see the CPI report. And that would tell us a little bit more about how was the Black Friday sales look like, right? And how that translate into economic outlook. And also with respect to ALGORAND news, right? Are we seeing some progressions on the operational front? Are the cases declining? Right? If those catalysts actually come through at the same time, if there's some sort of like a sector rotation going on as well, onto crypto obviously, right? And that's still kind of up in the air. I'm not so sure because I know about the equity sector rotation, which is called a Santa Claus rally among equity hedge funds. But with respect to crypto funds, are they doing the same thing? Because ultimately, the monetary circulation has to come from somewhere. So we do have three macro catalysts that we need to triangulate from here, right? But if all of those, let's just say 2 out of 3 are positive, right, out of those factors that we talked about, we should technically drive a golden cross. And with drive a golden cross, that means we're going to keep leaping up again. But it won't be like very dramatic, right? I think we might probably go to test all-time high. If we test all-time high, that means we will have a cup and handle. Okay, so let's just think about that, right? So right now, the pattern is not confirmatory, but it seems like that could be possible, right? And once you have that cup and handle, right, let's just say you fill the rim. Let me draw the rim right here. Again, right, you have to fill the rim up here. You will subsequently have to drop down a little bit, right, to consolidate a little bit more and then surge up from there. That's called a cup and handle, right? Again, if you look at my cup, I mean, look maybe this way. right? You see that there's a rim and then there's a handle, right? And then once you have the handle of a slight dip, which is basically matching with this consolidation level, then you will leap up from there. So I don't know. We'll see, right? Ultimately, we're in a business of risk mitigation. I do not predict the future again, right? But that could be a logical play from here. Bitcoin got to, again, right, to the level that we identify. Seems like we're rebounding right now, and with the 44, 45 out of 70. So same thing, you know, if we're going to do that, but we have a much larger leap up in comparisons, right? Let's just put a drawing line right here just to remind ourselves how far the lit will have to go, right? You see, it's quite a major leap up from here, right? You technically have to search another like $12,000 for us to go there, and we are at the 46 out of 70. So we might just not get it for Bitcoin. I think Ethereum might have a better shot of doing so, actually. Dogecoin was the dip. You could see that clearly if you look, you know, yeah, Dogecoin was definitely the dip. You could see that, you know, we were saying that we should be buying anywhere from the 20 cents to the 1950, and you could see that the cross section is slowly forming. So as we form that, we're gonna have a golden cross, right? As we form that golden cross, we're gonna leap up all the way to the 25, all the way to the 26. And I think that should be it. 26 would be a relatively major consolidation level. That will be a resistance. That will be like a wall that will, you know, resist you from going up there. So I think Dogecoin's, you know, the dip was there, and we were very fortunate for some people that actually got in. Cardano right now is still oversold, but we are reversing slowly. But it's not as like obviously prominent in comparisons to other coins because of the legal issues that they're still having, right, with respect to the suspension on eToro. So something to think about. But it's not a bad level to be incurring risk right now. 145, and we even got to 142, which was quite oversold, right? And as you broke 142, you go to 135. But people immediately bought in. That's why you see the mini candle right here. Solana right now, it's at the relatively okay level. We are still at the 50 out of 70. So you could see that clearly. We are just rebounding because the overall market is rebounding. Nothing really specifically driven by Solana. So ideally, again, I'll just still wait off until we come back to 157, 133 to 113 from here. XRP is rebounding from the level of 93 cents. We are at the 40, and I think same thing, right? As we get back to above 101, we'll go to 110. So I think right now it's not a terrible level to get in, but the better dip was at the 88 cents, right? That we kept saying, right? Polkadot right now, it's at an okay level. We're still at the oversold levels, not like completely oversold with 38 out of 70. So ideally, anywhere from 33 all the way to 25 is still the level $2 cost average. Algorand's up about 8% right now. Ideally, dollar cost average at the 160 to 152 is the dip, right? I know some of you guys actually caught the dip. Shiba Inu, it's kind of flat in comparison to other coins, huh? Really. And I think right now it's still in the bearish state despite what we're saying, right? 43 out of 70. So ideally come back to the, again, right, like the 2800 or to the 900. So the frame between there would be relatively good. So I think I would ideally dollar cost average at somewhere around like the high to 2800 first. So respect to risk management level, these are levels I identify for you guys. I know some of them actually came true already, and some of them are not. So for me, these are my risk management level, not for everybody. There's no need for you to be following what I'm doing, right? Because I have a really large holding. You know, I have about like $250,000 of Ethereum at the moment, and I have 3 Bitcoins. So it's really not about. It's not my methodology is the best. I'm just doing what I'm doing. But hopefully that makes sense to you, right? And I'm doing this is partially for me to help people, but it's partially to help myself as well, to keep refreshing my mind and reminding myself the frame of resistance levels that we have to risk control, right? So you don't bleed out or you don't make irrational decisions, right? So hopefully this is helpful. Really appreciate you on this Monday morning again. It's 9:30, so the market just opened right now, and I'm gonna head off and have some breakfast, and then have a bunch of meetings today. But I'll see you guys in a later day, and hope you guys have a great day ahead of you guys. And take care. Bye.